Welcome to Let's Get Lost in Classic Movies. I'm Jana.
I'm Debbie. Welcome.
We have a very interesting movie. So we are watching Storm Warning. It has Ginger Rogers, Doris Day, Ronald Reagan, and Steve Cochran. It came out in 1951 and was directed by Stuart Hessler. What's it about, Mom?
It's about Ginger Rogers is a sister of Doris Day, and she's going to visit her sister. And as she arrives in the town, she sees a murder. And it happens to be the Ku Klux Klan. And it goes on from that. Very intense movie. I don't want to say any more because I think it'll ruin you watching the movie, and you really need to see the movie.
It's a very good movie. Join us back for our discussion, and we will see you soon.
Have fun watching the movie.
I don't know who's the guiltier, the one who commits the crime or the one who just stands by and refuses to do anything about it.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Jana. How are you today?
Oh my gosh. I think my heart is still pounding
From watching the movie?
from watching the movie.
Yeah.
Or it could be the caffeine. Who knows?
Yeah. So we're watching for the first time, for me and you,
Yeah.
Storm Warning.
Storm Warning. When did you get lost in this movie?
I think it was right at the beginning when she gets off the bus and notices that people are acting a little strange, like the taxi driver, you know. He goes, there's no taxi driver, and he's sitting right there talking to her. And then when she sees the murder, and then she sees the people who did it. So that, I think,
That sealed it in for you?
that drugged me right in because I needed to know how were they related to, you know, how would they know or how would she know who they were? So that was very intriguing to me. What about you?
Honestly, I think I got lost in the movie on the bus at the very beginning. Because I thought, I haven't seen many Ginger Rogers movies, but her character wasn't what I would have thought as Ginger Rogers. She was very stoic and sure of herself and very confident. I don't know who the man was with her. Who was the man that was with her?
I've never seen him before. I have no idea.
And then I first thought maybe they were married.
No, I knew they weren't married, but no. I don't know who he was. And that was it. You never saw him again.
You never saw him again. They never looped that guy back around.
He was on there for 2 minutes and he's gone.
I know, just pining after her. Yeah. I thought that this movie, you know, sometimes classic movies can take a second to get going. This one did not.
No, it went right to the point. And believe it or not, which is, you know, why it's Storm Warning when it's about the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, the title doesn't seem to give it justice but I don't know what you would have called it. Storm Warning. What year was this made?
1950.
1950?
1950. And it does have a 1940s-esque to it.
Yeah. But this reminds me of when I went to visit Atlanta for the first time. And a friend of mine said, well, let's drive downtown. So we drove downtown Atlanta, and there was the militia lined up on the street. And I said, what is going on? She goes, oh, I forgot. The Ku Klux Klan is going to walk down.
What the fuck?
This was in 1989.
What?
1989. because I moved there in 1990. And 1989, the Ku Klux Klan is still alive in the South.
Okay, Mom, real quick. So you went in 1989, saw that there was the Ku Klux Klan, and still decided to move here in 1990?
And still moved here. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I say here, I grew up in Atlanta, but
Yeah.
we're in Savannah now.
But yeah, so this is what, and I was like, I went, you're kidding. And I couldn't believe that the Ku Klux Klan was still alive and thriving.
So I did some research, and it was started in Tennessee in 1865.
Wow.
And then by 1870, it had reached all southern states.
Of the South. Yeah.
Of the South, yes, of the South. Gosh, the South, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, 1989, they were still alive and breathing, believe it or not.
Did you like the movie?
Yeah, I did. I was a little sad about the ending.
Oh, yeah, it got me.
Yeah.
I wrote down, it was probably about 15 minutes before the ending when they're fighting. The sister and him are fighting, and he's trying to
Rape her.
Yeah. Wow. What a winner this guy is. And I wrote down, I didn't know what was going to happen because these old movies will kill somebody, Like, it's not like a character will die a lot of the time. And you're like, what? This couldn't have been a happier ending?
I know.
So I want to dive in a little bit to, I want to ask you some questions.
Shoot.
What would you have done? I'm going to ask you that question a few times through these different scenarios. So you get off the bus. You're very confident, Mom. You're looking for your sister who has a little bit of a different personality than you. Mm-hmm. And you get off the bus and you see, this has to be do you think she had ever witnessed the Ku Klux Klan or knew what that was when she saw the white robes? Do you think she knew what it was?
No.
Okay, so you see these white robes for the first time, and what would you have done?
And it was a white man that they were.
So that's what's so interesting. I thought about that too. Yeah. In the whole movie, I only saw one black man in the background. Mm. And I thought that was so interesting that when we think of the Ku Klux Klan,
think of that they always hurt the blacks.
And I thought it was really unique that this movie didn't bring race into it at all. Mm. They said, no, this is effed up, and we're just going to talk about it and allow it to be what it is without adding in another element. It was in 1950. We hadn't gone through segregation yet, right?
Right.
So what did you think of that?
I thought it was very interesting. But the guy that got murdered was a reporter, and he was writing about the Ku Klux Klan. And obviously, they didn't like what he had to say. But if I were Ginger Rogers and I saw this, I think I would have gone to the police right away.
Really?
Yeah, I think I would have.
Wow.
And why she didn't surprises me.
Yeah.
So.
Would you have found Auntie Dawn first?
No, I probably would have gone to the police first. But I don't remember. Did they see her?
No. It didn't seem like they'd seen her, even though I thought that they may have. I don't remember.
Seen her?
I don't think they did.
I'm trying to think back if they saw her. But yeah, I don't think they did.
Okay, so let's say you didn't go to the police station, or you went to the police station and weren't there, or you followed Ginger Rogers' path to this. I feel like you would have told Auntie Dawn, pack your bags. We're getting the hell out of Dodge. You're not staying here. What would you have done? Do you think you would have done that?
Well, I think she meets her sister, and then her sister leaves work early, and they go home. And then he comes, and she sees that it was the guy at the. Then I would have said, "We're leaving. Pack your bag."
Would you have confronted him like she did? I was like, you're setting him up to kill you. Every time she kept being confrontational. Do you think you would have been confrontational to him?
Probably not.
Yeah.
No,
I thought that was a
not.
little stupid. But I mean, I wasn't in this scenario, so it might have been different if I had been in this scenario.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, you never know. You don't know what you're going to do until it happens. But
And I thought she portrays fear on her face so well.
Ginger Rogers? Yeah. You have to remember, Ginger Rogers and Doris Day are musical dancers. And Doris Day being a famous singer. There's no music or dancing in this movie at all. None. To watch these two women play a drama like this, it was fascinating to see the two of them work together like that.
It was fascinating. I love her. I love her songs. Oh my God, Doris Day. And you know, you say she plays the girl next door a lot of times, Doris Day. Mm-hmm. And I thought she played this very well.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And
Ginger Rogers, I think she played her role very well.
oh my gosh, you know, and I had joked on my notes. I joked the casting was perfect because they look like sisters.
Yeah.
You could see a little bit of a resemblance.
Oh, yeah, yeah. They're sisters, yeah.
Okay, so, you know, one of the things that, first of all, who knew Ronald Reagan was so attractive as a young man?
Well, he was attractive even as an older man.
True. And I think he played
The district attorney.
so well.
He could have been, to me, a little tougher
Yeah.
with these people.
Yeah.
And he didn't push hard enough, I didn't think.
Yeah.
But,
I know.
and then he's there at the end, but, you know,
Yeah, he kind of has this almost lackadaisical
yeah.
move through the movie where I thought a lot of it was poetry. You know, when he's talking to the other guy,
Yeah.
and you know, this movie is very interesting for what's happening right now in the US. But the premise is basically you can cause way more harm not saying something than if you just come out and say something.
Right.
Okay, what would you have done in the courtroom? Knowing your sister's married to him.
Well, that's a tough one. I don't know. She deliberately lied. And I don't know. I don't know if I could have done that. But to protect her, probably.
Yeah.
It's a hard decision until you're in that situation. You don't know what you're going to do. But
Yeah.
that was a tough one.
Were you ever shocked in the movie?
Yeah, that one part at when Ginger Rogers was getting whipped.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Whew. You know, when I thought to myself, okay, you're going to lie on the stand in front of the whole town, but you can't lie to get out of your situation. The Ku Klux Klan. One of the things that I thought about the movie that was done so well was the little moments they showed with each person. You almost got a perspective, a whole room perspective, where I think a lot of times movies just show the perspective of the main character.
Mm-hmm.
But you saw, for example, the shorter, older man that lied and in the courtroom, and the guy turns around and says, or, you know, well, not even when the older man lies in the courtroom about, you know, going home or playing poker or whatever he was saying. And the people behind him say he gets better and better about that lie every time he tells it. They had little moments throughout the movie where...
See, I have to see it again because this is my first time watching it. You know, it's not like ones I've seen 100,000 times. So there's little things I probably have missed that when I see it again or watch it again, I'll pick up new stuff of it. So
Is that why you like rewatching movies?
that's why I rewatch movies.
You
You
see
always
something
pick up something else
Yeah,
that you missed, or a moment, or a phrase, or a facial expression that kind of stays with you.
Yeah. You really realize that the whole town is the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah, exactly.
And they brought children.
I know. Can you believe it with the little robes?
How
Did you see that?
psychotic.
And there's Ronald Reagan going, she should be in bed. But these smaller towns are like that. They're like that. I was trying to think of, there was a town above Atlanta. I want to say, was it White? Is there a city White?
I don't know.
It was a small town. But every year, they did a white Christmas parade. And it was the Ku Klux Klan that had their float, and they would be on it. And
No
yeah.
way.
And I'm talking, this is in the 90s now.
So this is why I say people wonder why there are still issues that are having to be worked out,
I know.
and that Black people should just forget everything that happened. When we're talking, this is the 90s. Like, I was born in 94.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, I do want to ask, Mom, so did you go to a segregated school?
No.
So you had Black people,
No.
but it wasn't segregated.
No.
So that means you were in a segregated school because there weren't Black people.
There were no Black people, right. No, I didn't know. Whatever.
Did you ever go to school with a Black person?
No.
When was the first time you met a Black person?
Well, I had friends that were Black.
Really?
Older people.
Really?
Yeah. Well, there was Libby, who used to take care of the jockeys, because, I used to hang around the jockeys all the time. And, he'd take care of the jockeys, horse racing. And, yeah, Libby. He was a nice man.
Do you think in 1950, when this movie came out, that it was the first time that some people, especially up north, were learning about the Ku Klux Klan for the first time?
Could be. Like I said, I thought it was gone a long time ago. Never thought it was still existing in the 90s. Yep.
What would you say the theme of this movie is?
That being in a Ku Klux Klan does not pay.
Yeah, you should probably get out if you're still in it. I think it doesn't matter. I think it's such an interesting conversation even today with what is going on, that it is, sometimes you feel like if it doesn't directly relate or involve you, that you don't really need to stand up for it. And
yeah,
according to the story, that doesn't bode well. I liked the movie, though. I thought it was very good, and I thought it was a full circle moment when she did everything Ginger Rogers did everything in her power to protect her sister, and she ended up dying anyway.
Right. Because her husband shot her, and then they shot him. So they both died.
What would you have rather had happen?
That he died, and the leader. Although the leader of the Ku Klux Klan probably went to jail.
We would hope so.
Yes, we would hope so. It didn't show that, but we would hope.
I I liked the movie. I thought it was done exceptionally well. And it has, like I said, it has the 40s are my favorite decade of movies. And I think it's because,
Well, in the early 50s, late 40s, early 50s.
I like that you don't really see the background very often. Because the movies aren't clear, right? So there's nothing to focus on except for the acting and the character.
Right.
So I do think it's time to come up with, what was your martini shot? So your martini shot is either a best dressed character, which I don't know if that would be this situation,
No.
or a scene that you thought was exceptionally well done, or a pivoting moment, or stood out to you. What would your martini shot be?
It would have to be you and Ginger Rogers just being whipped.
Really?
Whipped, yeah. That was incredible. And how she acted that out. I think she did a superb job
Yeah.
in that, doing that. Could you imagine? I just can't imagine that. Yeah.
And I think,
What was yours?
oh, mine. So originally, it was the two police officers talking in the jail about, so one guy says he's got a case. Like, I can understand why he's not saying something, the older gentleman. And the other guy, Ronald Reagan, says everybody's got a case. And he says, I don't know who's guiltier, the one who commits the crime or the one who does nothing about it.
Makes sense.
And I thought that was just a moment that draws in, that I think withstands the test of time.
Yeah.
But as I move through and think about the movie, the main piece that stands out to me, that makes me nauseous, that I just still see, is when Ginger Rogers meets him for the first time. And he goes through this whole arc of all the emotions, like, everything's fine, I'm just tired, to, yes, I did kill him, and then he gets angry and he turns on the women, to crying and saying, you know, he doesn't know what happened.
He had too much to drink and
And he goes out and he listens to the two women, Ginger Rogers and Doris Day. And Ginger Rogers says, I'm just going to get on a bus
and leave.
And his face that smirks, you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That, I think, his acting was exceptional. I mean, and you think about the men that are like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if those were true. Like, you can't tell what emotions were true.
Yeah.
It was all manipulative.
Yeah.
So I think that would have been my martini shot.
That was a good one.
I think. Yeah. Well, Mom, I'm glad we watched a movie that you've never seen before.
I know. I can imagine. Let's hopefully, maybe I'll find some other ones.
I know. Don't watch them until we're ready to record. Thank you guys for joining us on Let's Get Lost in Classic Movies. I hope you subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye.